analyze other people's stuff. Why does that bit of illustration or artwork, why is that successful? And you know, so kind of just get better at looking at stuff really and analyzing, and also just to try and enjoy it really, because if you can enjoy it and not like listen to those like little voices like, oh, maybe I should only do this style or whatever it is, just if it feels good and it's like, I don't know, it feels natural, then yeah, just like make stuff and enjoy making things. And
Hey, how's it going? You are here for Heavy Art Talk, as usual, as your host, Lee, and I am pumped. I have James Wilson joining me today. James Wilson is all the way across the pond. It's always nice to talk to folks who, just all over around the world. But, a couple bands that he's worked with would be Deafheaven, Gatecreeper, Uncle Ass and the Deadbeats, and Undeath, and also Skin Failure. But ultimately, like, what's really drawn me to James's work is it has this like somewhat airbrushy quality to it that has a little bit of a retro vibe, but he inserts his own kind of personality into it. And beyond that, just seems like a really nice dude. So without further ado, James, what's happening, man?
Hey mate, how's it going? Yeah,
it's going good, dude. I appreciate you carving out the time in the evening. It's just a little afternoon for me, and it's what, around 6 p.m. for you?
Yeah, it's just past 6 p.m. here. Yeah, no problem, mate. Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on.
Yeah, of course, dude. And it's been in the works for a little bit, but we wanted to wait until your little one is just a little older, so you have a little more predictability to it.
Absolutely, yeah. It would have been absolute madness to try and do this. Like, I think you basically got in touch like pretty much straight after he was born, so it would have just ultra
Great
chaotic
timing on my behalf.
Oh no, yeah, you want to know. But yeah, really glad that we can do it now, and have a bit more, like you said, predictability to it all.
Totally. What time of night are you going to bed nowadays?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit earlier now. We're starting to like establish a routine with him and stuff like that. Yeah. I'll typically, on average, stay up with him while my partner catches up on some sleep in the evening. A couple of weeks ago it was probably like midnight, 1 a.m. Okay. Now it's a little bit earlier, but it was kind of like quite hard to like sandwich drawing in between, his life. So whenever like he's napping, basically I've got the iPad out and just trying to get bits and pieces done. But definitely. It's starting to come together a little bit more now, and like figuring out a little pattern to things.
You feel like your perspective on life has changed since having, a kid, or just it's kind of like every day is kind of a new thing and you're just kind of along for the ride in a lot of ways?
Totally is. Yeah, it's like, as soon as you feel like you're getting to grips with one thing, it will change. But yeah, I mean, it definitely is like, all the cliches really. It's like, it does put things in perspective, and in some ways it makes like everything else seem not a big deal and quite easy, because it's a real challenge, that's for sure. But it's it's really rewarding, again, like so many people have probably told you. And it's definitely fun as well. It's like initially it's really intense, and you hit the ground running, and you and the him, we're doing lots of learning. He's never existed before, and everything's new, and he basically is blind, and you're doing everything for the first time as well. But you get into it, and as you go, they kind of start to develop a personality, and he's a lot of fun for sure.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you sharing. I know I told you the first question I was going to ask you was about music.
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Let's go really deep all of a sudden,
I was like, I'm not going to talk about baby stuff because, like, I don't know. Do you have like children or anything yourself?
I don't know. I think
I
that's why I'm
realized,
curious too.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I realized, I know what it's obviously like, what it's like before having a child, and it's hard to be that interested really in a lot of ways, because you never really know what things are like until you're in it. But yeah, happy to talk about it as well. Just wasn't sure how interesting it would be to the general viewers.
I guess ultimately I kind of decide what I think's interesting, and I hope
Sure.
other people do too.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's interesting to me because it's like there's so many illustrators who have kids, and then there's
Mm.
ones who don't, and I understand kind of like the decision either way. So I'm just kind of always curious of people who do have kids, what that experience is like.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yeah. Totally.
Let's shift gears to metal, if that's cool, for just a minute
Yeah.
here, or
Very cool.
any type of music.
Yeah.
What have you been listening to lately?
So Blood Incantation, the latest one,
Okay.
Absolute Elsewhere. I'm actually going to see them on Monday in a couple of days. So
nice.
Yeah, never seen them before.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah, have you seen them?
Yeah, I've seen them 3 times.
Oh, cool.
Always exceptional. I saw them pretty early on, like not really, really early on, but like before they, got really, really big, and it was at a very small little venue in Atlanta. And then I saw them at a bigger place, and then I saw them headline in a fairly large venue here in Atlanta, and I imagine they're just going to keep going up and up. Yeah. And for good reason. Like, dude, they're exceptional. It's going to be a really killer show.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that album's amazing, isn't it? And it's like, it properly, I mean, I'm sure it's been described this way by lots of people, but it's a proper journey, isn't it? It's like a musical, like, space adventure. It's really cool.
I'm like a big prog guy, so it's like perfect.
Yeah, I feel like it's also not, I don't know, like I don't listen to loads of prog, but it feels quite, how certain prog bands, maybe more kind of old prog, it kind of it changes quite randomly, and they kind of, it doesn't seem like it always fits together, but it can still be fun. Whereas this feels like it's quite like organic in how the music evolves. And it just sounds, I can imagine it's going to sound huge. So it should be fun.
Oh yeah. Anything else you've been listening to?
A bit of Vulture. They're always a go-to. Did you ever listen to them?
Metal band Vulture?
Vulture, yeah, it's like German.
Yeah, they're like kind of like speed metal, heavy metal. Yeah. A little bit. I know the covers though. They like, there's like the logo diagonal, and it's got a little bit of like a shine to it, right?
Yeah. They've got some kind of like, they've had kind of chrome like logos before, and now they've gone for a more of a, I suppose it's like kind of what is it? It's like leathery kind of look to it, with kind of like buttons around it. Yeah, it's quite funny. But yeah, that I mean, their album artwork's amazing. Like all their stuff they put out is awesome. It's quite silly, but it always like brings a smile to my face. It's entertaining. Yeah, for sure.
What's kind of like some of your default music taste, just in terms of genre? Like, where's kind of your home base?
Yeah, I don't. It's a funny one, really, because like I would probably say, it is. Metal is like probably a go-to. A lot of thrash, black metal, that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not that clued up on lots of current stuff, but also saying that, I feel like I don't actually listen to it loads, because I find it quite distracting. I mean, I play guitar a little bit, and it always just makes me want to pick up the guitar, basically, and then that's not helpful at all if I've got like a deadline and whatnot. So I often will listen to like kind of more like electronic stuff, or I've been listening to a bit of like they're called LA Power Disco. It's
That's kind of like a genre or a band.
It's a name of band. So it's got like former members of the band Cobra Man, if you ever listened to that. But it's LA based band, and it's kind of disco-y as the name suggests, but it's also a bit rocky. There's all kinds of kind of different influences going on. There's maybe a bit of kind of indie stuff going on in there. It's quite 80s sounding as well, 70s, 80s. But it's got like a very kind of classic sound to it, like a big sound. So yeah, that was good. Yeah.
It's kind of cool that like basically they just named their band after exactly what they sound like. You know,
that's basically what it is, because Cobra Man, they described themselves as LA Power Disco. That was kind of, I suppose, their own kind of naming of their subgenre. But I mean, it makes sense that I suppose they wanted to kind of keep some of the fans from Cobra Man, or make it obvious that it was kind of a related thing. So I guess that's why they named it that. Yeah. I mean, really into that.
So like growing up and stuff, what was it like, you know, kind of getting into art, like kind of that, how did that early seed of the journey start?
Yeah. I've been drawing as long as I can remember, really. I don't know if that's the same for you, if you can remember like, oh, it was age 5 that I started or whatnot. Sure. I was thinking about this. And yeah, there's definitely some kind of key points. I think I was always like doodling as a kid. And then basically my dad he's a guitar player, he played in bands and stuff like that, and a couple of the people in the band were illustrators. Cool. There was one guy in particular who he did stuff for 2000 AD. Wow. I went to like his studio and saw his setup, and he had a big old kind of drawing board, kind of angled, and loads of just cool shit in his studio. And so it was like, it really sold it to me, that kind of, you can do this as a job. This seems pretty good. And so, he gave me some kind of little basic drawing lessons, and he bought me, you might have heard of this book. It's called like How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. It's a classic. A great book. Yeah. Quite old book now, but it's like, really thorough kind of breakdown about how to draw people and perspective and everything kind of comics related, really. So that was like a massive influence, and for a while I was like kind of obsessed with wanting to be like a comic book illustrator and all that kind of stuff, really. I'd say that like, I mean, it's not kind of the stuff I do now, really, although I guess there's probably a little bit of that creeps in places, maybe in terms of how I approach drawing people, and like the geometry of people's faces and the kind of that. There's a little bit of that creeps in.
Well, looking at your art, I would say your approach is you take the craft of making illustrations seriously, of course. To get as good as you are, it takes that. But I wouldn't say that you're taking the subject matter very seriously. You're having fun with it is my point. And I feel like that probably bleeds a little bit over from comics, where it's like art should not only just be expression, but it can be a source of like levity, or kind of being okay with the ridiculousness of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, a lot of kind of heavy metal covers, and especially kind of 80s ones and whatnot, they're like so ridiculous, aren't they? And like movie covers, 80s movie posters and all that stuff. And that's just, I suppose it's just like an amalgamation of everything that I've, same for a lot of people, I guess. It's just that I've just absorbed. And like it's gradually, because I guess the stuff I do now is more, my typical go-to is kind of like, movie posters, kind of collage kind of arrangements. And that's, come through from like, video store, video rental shops when I was a kid, and just being blown away by all those amazing like cover art artists and stuff like that. Had like kind of like no right being as good as they are, really. Like, I don't know, like some of the films that this artwork is on is like so shit. It's like
the poster's amazing, but
it's, I suppose like maybe it's a rule of thumb, like the better the video cover, like the worse the movie or something.
Still makes you want to buy it though, doesn't it?
Totally. I mean, it's like did a lot of heavy lifting, didn't it, really? I suppose because a lot of the time back then they didn't have trailers for movies, so it was just like that was the visual, that was the trailer for it in a way. It's just like the big push for the movie.
So was that like a formidable experience for you as well, like going to like the movie rental store and seeing like the covers of like horror movies and being intrigued by them?
Yeah, it definitely was. Although I'd say that kind of crept into my work a little bit later on, really. And yeah, I suppose I was on the kind of the comics trip for a while, wanting to kind of do that. Um, and then yeah, it's just for whatever reason, I suppose. So I did illustration at uni, and that kind of had a bit of a design focus to it. Um, so yeah, I wanted my work to be a bit more kind of design led in a way. I wanted to try and like, I don't know, yeah, kind of acquire new skills where I was able to like use illustration and design, and kind of moved a little bit away from the kind of sequential illustration stuff.
Yeah.
But like I did some work for I had a period of doing stuff for Little White Lies magazine. It's like a British film review magazine, and it's pretty much entirely illustrated. It's really good. It's got a bit of photography in, but mostly all drawn, hand drawn, like illustrated covers and content. And I ended up getting some stuff for them, and I kind of thought like, well, what? So initially, the work I got for them, it was like a group show. It was a group exhibition called Not for Rental, and it's like basically all the artwork was exhibited on video covers.
Nice. That's cool.
And so yeah, it was really cool. And yeah, I just thought like, well, what I want to make a cool cover, but also like, what would the people who are like commissioning illustrators want to see, and would this be appropriate for their magazine? So I kind of created some artwork with that in mind, which happened to be like a character pile up kind of style, collage style poster. And then off the back of that, it kind of, I got some work for them, and some other kind of editorial gigs. And yeah, and then it was one of those things where you're just like, why haven't I done this before? I used to love movies that had these kind of arrangements, like this kind of artwork. And so, yeah, that started that little kind of journey, really.
Yeah, kind of like almost kicked off the style you're known for, was just having this particular project, and it sounds like you really liked it, and you're like, I could just, keep expanding upon this.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I saw it was on Twitter. It was like they just randomly one day I was thinking, oh, it'd be good to get some stuff in an exhibition or something, and just happened to check Twitter and saw that they were looking for people to submit work for it. And yeah, it's just one of those things that like, it all just seemed to kind of align really, and yeah, worked out well.
What about your first work with like metal bands? When did that start?
Yeah, that wasn't it was quite recently, really. I mean, it was like 2021, and it's funny because like you don't always remember these things. That it was going back through like my work and working out images that I could send over to you, and then I was kind of went back previously to 2021, and there's not really any like skulls or anything like that. I got loads of, but basically from 2021 onwards, it's like there's a huge like increase in skulls and kind of more metal themed stuff going on. And it was one of those things. So this first project that kind of came in was for Wasted Death, and it's for some EP artwork. And yeah, they already had an EP out which had some awesome artwork on it. It's like a skeleton sat on a toilet, like with just like drinking a beer with like all its guts falling out. It's like really gross. I mean, I don't typically do that much kind of gross stuff, really. I'm not like, I wouldn't say no to it necessarily, but I just don't tend to steer towards that.
Yeah, same.
But I wanted to make just something over the top and ridiculous because to suit the name. So I just drew like a skull puking up another skull, also puking. Just something really stupid, and like wanted to make it just really bold and colourful. And yeah, it got a really good response. And basically, I approached it with just not really overthinking it too much. I think just wanted to have fun and enjoy drawing this like ridiculous thing, and then maybe that showed in the artwork, and yeah, I got more work off the back of that, and then it's kind of steamrolled from there, really.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works, right? You get 1, 2, 3 maybe opportunities to show your work in like a new direction, and then it naturally kind of picks up. And then even then there's like ebbs and flows, but you're kind of riding the wave, it sounds like.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah, and it's one of those things. It's just like I was like, why have I not done more of this? Why have I not done like more skulls and gore and or like over the top stuff like this? Yeah, I was thinking about this actually, and yeah, when I first moved to Bristol, where I'm based at the moment, long time ago now, it wasn't like Instagram or anything like that. It was harder to kind of find artists and inspiration really. And I remember just seeing like there were certain artists, like that artist French does like oh right, he's like a British artist, and he does loads of kind of morbid, yeah, does loads of skulls, and he's got like a skate.
It's just French.
Yeah, that's his like nickname.
Okay, I'll look him up.
I can't remember his actual name, but if you like, yeah, maybe if you just Google like French British illustrator skateboarder, you'll find him. But yeah, I loved his stuff. But then I just kind of thought, he does the skulls. I can't, he does the kind
Everybody does skulls.
And it sounds so ridiculous, doesn't it? I know, and but it's kind of just like, oh no, I don't want to like rip off his style.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll do. I think I just ended up just doing more kind of people and like action movie type stuff, and but yeah, it sounds ridiculous now because like so much stuff you see everywhere is just gnarly skulls and heavy metal imagery, the type of stuff we like. It's classic obviously, but yeah, I was just very conscious of like, I want to have my own style, because it was very like put upon you in uni that you need to have your own unique style and you need to do this, that and the other. So I kind of just thought, no, I won't do that.
You ever think that like obsessing about having your own style can actually stifle having your own style? I wonder if sometimes it's like the more you think about having a unique style, it actually makes it harder to get one. I wonder.
Yeah, it definitely did. Yeah. It like just puts a lot of pressure on, really, doesn't it? And then you can kind of end up like tying yourself in knots, or putting yourself in
a corner, right?
That's it. That's the expression. Yeah, because you're just like, well, this is what I do now, and I can't stray from that because this is what I'm known for. And
yeah,
I think most people, like, their stuff evolves, doesn't it, in some way? And some people's kind of it evolves in a more like linear or like organic way gradually, and some people just go for a completely different thing. But yeah, I like to think that, because I mean, most of the stuff I do now is kind of painted kind of style illustrations, but I also do kind of line art stuff as well, for depending on what the project is. But yeah, I'm always trying to like make sure the same kind of feel comes across with both, that people will be able to hopefully identify that it's by me, and it's got the similar kind of things, recognizable aspects to it.
I think you definitely have a recognizable style. So it just happens.
Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That is something that's been kind of top of mind for me though too, is because I find sometimes these conversations, my outlook on art can be kind of like workmanlike compared to other people who maybe it's like more broad and expressive and stuff. I mean, while I love that stuff, it's just I can't change my mindset entirely. It's like I kind of have a default way of thinking. I can be open-minded, of course, but my overall like principles are show up to the desk as often as you can, be intentional, and try to do the best thing you can with what's in front of you. And then I think I'm a big proponent of study from people who you think are better than you. And then, don't like ape their style, but like get undeniably good by learning from past masters, and even some modern ones too. Past is better because, you can then, draw from what they drew from, of course. So it's not that kind of reinterpretation, but I don't know. I'm kind of going on a rant. It's just sometimes I think that obsessing so much about style for like younger artists, it's like if you just instead just like study fundamentals over and over again, you'll find that your style is just your way of wielding those fundamentals.
Definitely. Yeah, I also think that, I'd agree that like copying, not copying in that you're trying to rip off someone's style, like you say, but yeah, it's a good way of kind of really looking, isn't it, at like how someone approaches artwork, And also I feel like even if you do copy it, it's never going to be exactly the same, isn't it? Is it? Like you've got a different hand to someone else, you've got a different mind and eyes, it's still going to look a little bit different, and you're going to probably eventually, like, hopefully weave that into your overall style that's going to become a different thing altogether. I suppose it's a bit like bands, isn't it? If you've got different members with different influences and then you stick it all together and then you hopefully create something fresh is an ideal.
Well, and even better is like if you take from different genres, so if you're a metal band, don't just listen to metal, listen to hip hop if that's what you're drawn to as like your secondary genre. So you could take from like 5 death metal bands, but then, and the thing is, like, I'm saying this and I know that like metal purists would like hate that shit, but it's like, what if you added some kind of like weird hip hop thing in there or something? Like, if you want to make something interesting, you have to kind of draw from like a little bit of the unknown as well. So I don't know, maybe I'm just more scientific and logical minded than some artists are, but like I like think about like reverse engineering stuff,
right?
So like what makes Gustave Doré one of the most like impactful artists of all time? Well, I just analyze it, I like almost make it as objective as possible, which for some people it like defeats the fun and the mystique and the mystery around it, but for me it's like it makes it even more interesting and exciting because I'm being intentional about being in the presence of greatness. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, like, the process of how people create this artwork is like fascinating to me. I mean, it's like I don't really understand if you're creative why you wouldn't want to be interested in that kind of stuff, really. And also because like I also think of it as like it's your process is like making the final outcome is you've made a meal, and then you've got different ingredients that have made up this meal, and then it's like, what happens if you change one of those ingredients or processes? You're going to get a slightly different outcome, and I'm always tempted to kind of change something in my process just to ideally make it kind of more efficient, really, because like my stuff can take ages and it's not always ideal. I mean, I always get the work done in time, but I'm always after like efficiency without sacrificing quality. So what would happen if I tried this slightly different approach, or this one thing that was changed? Do you ever kind of change things up in the way you work, or have you got quite a strict kind of set of guidelines that you follow to?
I change things up a little bit. Like the last couple pieces I've done, I've almost thought a little bit more like a collage artist, and I've really like dug up some like obscure art that's in like public domain, and then I'll like reinterpret it and then fuse it together like a collage, but I'm actually drawing it all. That's kind of like been the last couple pieces. And then now my next one, I'm like, I don't want to do any of that. I want it to be only my own reference photos and interpret that. So like, I kind of have like this push and pull where my process, like if you were just to look at what my stages are, it would be fairly, uniform. But like basically how much I draw from imagination or from things that already exist and then reinterpret, I kind of I kind of do a yin and yang because, it changes the outcome, and it's also what does the project really need to produce the best possible work.
For sure. Do you use a lot of reference then, or is it, like you said, it's a bit of a split? Is it between kind of your own photos or found stuff?
I do like different types of reference. So basically each project, I'll get like a folder on my phone, and then I'll get different types of reference. So I'll get like mood kind of reference. I'll get technical reference. That's like, just like, how did this artist render this? Because I think that'll pair well with this. I'll get actual imagery reference for like, especially with figure. Like I'm not that great at imagining figure. I need that to make it look good. Or it'll be a little cartoony. So that's just me recognize my own weaknesses to basically fill that gap. So I'll do subject reference, and I'll either take those pictures or I'll find them and like public domain or something like that. And then kind of what all pieces it together would then be imagination. But
Right.
I find that, at least for where I'm at right now, using reference in some way and not having like an ego about it
Yeah.
produces better work.
Yeah.
Are
It's
you
that
kind of
like,
similar, or how do you approach it?
yeah, it's that like voice in your head, isn't it? Being like, about the ego thing, or like, no, I should just, shouldn't use any reference. Maybe I should just draw it all from my head. Which is definitely something that I thought for a while, like a long time ago when I was doing the comic-y kind of stuff. Because I think that, those illustrators that I played in my dad's band that drew for 2000 AD, a lot of their stuff, they just know how to draw it. Like, they would just be in their in their minds already. I think they would use certain references from like muscle mags and stuff like that for like muscle references and all that kind of stuff, and poses maybe. But like a lot of the time, I think they just drew from their heads, because like they wouldn't have had there wouldn't have been much in the way of internet, so they wouldn't be able to just Google stuff. So it would either just be like random magazines, or maybe they would take some photos or something like that. But
You'd have a lot of like clippings back in
yeah,
that era. That'd be like a
for
common thing.
sure.
You'd have like a file cabinet just full of like random clippings.
I guess it would just be, it'd be the physical equivalent of, it would be a physical folder, wouldn't it, rather than a folder on your computer of references that they would just kind of gather over time and refer back to. I do use a lot of reference in my stuff, and I've been using myself more in reference images recently, which it's I kind of prefer that in a way, because I'm like, well, it's a completely unique image that I'm taking this reference that I'm referencing, rather than something that, like, if I'm looking for someone posing with like, I don't know, like a shotgun or something like that, I don't want to use the first thing that I find on Google, because it might be obvious, but then also it might not matter, because you can always kit the person out in different clothes, or make it look different, or
totally.
It's just not, no one else cares really, do they? It's only us that care about that stuff. Probably.
To me, it's like, it's kind of related to that imposter syndrome thing. And I think it's important to a certain degree to just be like, you can hold your own, like, a couple of secrets to yourself, right? Because that's, if you have your own magic formula, you don't owe anyone to give everything away. But like, I think it's helpful for other artists to just know, like, transparently, like, how you think and how you go about these things, because
definitely.
I feel like it's less and less now, but maybe it's just the echo chambers I'm in on the internet. But like, whatever produces the best possible result in an ethical way, to me, is like the way to go.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the putting the ego aside part.
Yeah, 100% agree. Because like, at the end of the day, they've commissioned you to make something for them, and the main thing is that you're going to make something for them that they're happy with, so they're not going to care about how you got there necessarily. Ideally you want to, like you said, I guess, do it in an ethical way, and do it in a way that's going to satisfy you as an artist, but also satisfy the client. It doesn't really matter too much, does it? I think, just use whatever you can to get the result.
Totally.
Except AI. Don't bother with that.
Where the ethical piece comes in.
Yeah.
Oh, I
bet you get lots of people
for days. But
I know. Like, it's one of those things I was just like, I think I did have AI I was going to talk about at some point, but like, I don't want to say it too early, because it's like everyone bullshits on about that, don't they?
Well, dude, the thing is, if artists don't continue to speak up, and because what happens is, it's like death by 1,000 paper cuts, man. It's like every day I feel sometimes like I'm just getting chipped away at a little bit more and more with this ominous threat. And it's like, if I don't speak up, then eventually I'm not going to have as much fight left,
Right, yeah.
But God, dude,
have you lost any work that you're aware of to AI? Any projects that have
No. But at the end of the day, like, the amount of work that I've done relative to like a lot of illustrators that have more experience than me is like a fraction. You know what I mean? I'm still very early on in my career, but it hasn't happened yet. You
Um,
don't have to name anybody, but has it happened at all?
yeah, I suppose I have in a way. Yeah, just like odd little. So yeah, I work as like a graphic designer, kind of part time, and yeah, there was something that was used for a present for someone that was AI generated and didn't look bad. Like it looked fine, but it was one of those things. Just like, oh, I would have happily drawn that, but
Right.
it's not a big deal. Yeah, I mean, not really for client jobs, not really. I'm seeing more people that are sending AI images as like a sketch.
God,
Is
I
what they
hate
call it.
that.
It's yeah, I wanted to talk about that because that's like, I don't know, but so I've had two of those recently, and yeah, do you find it like kind of creatively stifling? Because it's
Yeah.
the images that I got were basically finished things, so it's like, where do I come in with this? Well,
Yeah.
yeah,
I know.
it's
That's a tricky thing because it's like I'm trying not to be too judgmental, but from their perspective, musicians just gonna think bands, right? They're creative people, and creativity expands beyond just what they fuel into, right? So
mm,
the music is their instrument of creativity, right?
mm,
So like it's very common that illustrators also are like musicians, but they're not like pursuing bands full time.
mm,
But there's this type of thing where they have a clear vision, and I don't blame them for wanting that. And it's tempting to just type it in. But once you type it in and it spits out a result of an image that looks
mm,
decent, it's like, oh, well, I don't want to be known as somebody who's using AI. So I want to try to do it the ethical way. But now I have
mm,
a clear vision because it helped me realize that. So I'll send it to an artist and then
mm.
they'll do it so that I have my hands are clean and I get the result that I want.
Yeah,
And it's like on paper, I kind of understand that methodology and I don't want to be too much of a dick towards that, but it's still like it should not be an acceptable way going forward. If
yeah,
you want input from the artist and not just
mm.
basically recreating the damn thing.
Yeah. I suppose it's like it's a way of them getting their idea across, isn't it? Because
Right.
without that, they're just describing what they want, and then you're trying to essentially read their mind about what it is that they're imagining. You're trying to like they're trying to communicate to you what it
I
is.
understand the compulsion is basically what I'm getting at. Like
Yeah, for
just kind
sure.
of looking at it from their perspective, I understand why some people might be tempted to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm
Yeah,
talking too much though. I just basically said my whole belief on it. You feel similar, or what's it feel
yeah,
like when you get that prompt? What's that feel like?
yeah, yeah. I mean, the same, really. It's yeah, it it's just like, so you're sending me this, which is like a finished thing, but you don't want that, and it's like, um, but so what do you want? And so there was one recently where it was like a gig poster, and they'd AI generated an image, and they're like, oh, like this kind of thing. And I said, oh, so do you want this, but drawn in my style, like kind of airbrushy type, painty type look? And then they're like, oh, I'll check with the other guys in the band. And they're like, actually, no, we would kind of like it to be a bit cartoony, like in this image. Um, and so it was also quite like a tight deadline. And I was just like, yes, I don't think I can do it. Sorry. Yeah, because it was, I don't know, it just didn't seem, because the other thing, I guess, is that like if you make some work, you want to be proud of it. And you also want to be able to show it to people.
Right.
And with the potential that someone might commission you for similar stuff. So yeah, I didn't really want to be doing similar. If I did make it, it would purely be for a bit of money. But then I probably wouldn't want to share it. And if I did, I don't want to attract more of that type of work. So it didn't seem much like a kind of a win really to do it. But yeah, it is.
It doesn't. I hope that people eventually realize that it's just not the right move.
Mm,
And the other thing I'm careful with when I say things that I don't like or like critiques, man.
mm,
To me, it's like if you like villainize people too much, they get defensive. So if you want to
yeah.
ever have somebody like change their thought process at all, you really have to come across like from a place of like in good faith as much as possible.
Yeah,
It's like that,
absolutely.
that's something that, and I think you come across that way too. It's just like, I guess I'm kind of speaking to other illustrators. It's like, yeah, if you have a bad day, it's tempting to like rant and vent about it.
Yeah.
But then for those artists, maybe they're just going to get even, musicians, they're going to get even more like, fuck you, I'll tell you what to do. And it's like, oh my God, I want to like have a good working relationship here.
Yeah. I mean, like part of the joy of it is like, coming up with something that the client is going to be pleased with, that where they'd be like, oh yeah, this is, or like ideally, like you want to exceed their expectations, don't you? And you
exactly
send them something and they're like, oh my God, this is way better than I thought it was going to be. Whereas like you do the AI thing, and yeah, I mean, I'd never be
now.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, I mean, I'd never be rude to someone in an email or whatnot. But if that was the approach that they'd taken, I would just try and again, like anything, try and understand what it is that they want and how what part my stuff would play in this vision. But yeah, it is confusing when they send stuff like that, and it kind of demotes you really to like, if you're just doing stuff that's a bit like it or quite a lot like it, but slightly different, you just feel like a art droid or something, don't you? I'm just making something. It's not like there's no kind of creativity that's gone into it really.
I mean, at worst, you're just whitewashing it,
Yeah,
that's like basically, if I was to be critical of the band or whatever that does that. But yeah, dude, you're not alone in that. Just about everybody I've talked with has had that kind of experience.
right.
But,
yeah, it's good to talk to someone else who's seen that, because it's only happened kind of quite recently to me where I've encountered that, and it's like, oh, is this like the norm now? Is this the process that everyone is doing now? Yeah, it's interesting.
Hopefully not in the music industry.
Yeah.
Maybe in corporate America it will become more and more, because there's so much like fueled by the bottom line that like it's harder to have resistance for that because of capitalism, which is its own fucking conversation. But with metal and music, no, in my opinion, nobody does it for the money. So we gotta like not get sucked into these fucking traps of
definitely.
Well, you're talking about efficiency, right? There's efficiency to a certain point, and then there's the point of it's just like, do we really need just endless content of any type?
Yeah.
Do we need more AI music? Fuck no, dude.
Yeah, it's so weird that like music and art are the things that, I suppose, because it's like you can obviously see art is a visual thing, so you can immediately see when AI has been used for something, rather than, I don't know, like within the medical industry,
it's prevalent in there too,
or like database stuff. It's because it's visual. It can be like, here's what AI can do, but it's like totally unneeded, really, isn't it? Like it's not a necessary thing, like for art or music.
No, it doesn't make it better. It just makes it so you can produce more of it.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, I'm guessing it's probably going to go on for a while longer, but like, how much fun is it, if say you're using AI to generate imagery to stick on a t-shirt, you're going to make a t-shirt brand, sell t-shirts, but then you realize it's actually quite hard to get visibility to sell t-shirts on like Instagram and whatnot, and then you have to obviously ship them, and you have to work out how to get them printed and the process of that. And it's like, how much fun is that really?
Well, if I'm gonna be just let's assume that my intentions are just to make money, right? Okay, and I don't give a fuck about art at all, which I clearly do. So pretend I'm a different person, right? If I was trying to create a business like that, I would basically have all shipping fulfillment done by basically an outside company. And then I would have all the designs just basically done by AI. I would have my website that creates the e-commerce store created by AI. And then I basically could spin up a shop that has order fulfillment done in a matter of weeks, where I don't have to touch a thing. And every day I basically just go on it. And then I'm just like, all right, this is the new shirt design. Add that file to the website, and then fulfillment's completely done. And then I have passive income every month. But the thing is like, yes, you could do that, and you're right. If everyone does it, then no one's making money. But that's the temptation, is everyone just wants to be first. And
yeah,
I'm, not trying to be cynical as much as I just know how easy it is for people to exploit other people to make money in this new environment.
Yeah. I just can't see like, I guess some people
wouldn't be somebody who's an artist who would do that. And that's why we can just be like, fuck AI image people, because they aren't artists to begin with, because artists, part of being an artist is not just creating the work, it's abiding by a shared integrity. And when we lose sight of that, then it's not truly an art scene anymore. And everyone can have different opinions, right? I'm not saying everybody has to fucking think the exact same, but there are certain standards of like shared integrity.
Sure.
I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get worked up, James, dude. I'm talking too much. I told you, man.
No, that's all right. No, like, I love to talk about this kind of stuff. It is quite, I mean, it is mind blowing, really, isn't it? What you can do with it. Like, you have to be honest, but at the same time, it's like, for art and music especially, it's just completely unwanted and unnecessary. And I just feel like, how can anyone really be that happy, like just spitting out stuff to, I don't know, sell as a print or a t-shirt? Like it must get boring. I mean, unless they're making, like you said, like passive income that's decent and they've got a few things going on. But it seems weird when you see there's lots of you've probably seen loads of it, like AI metal art and stuff like that, which you can usually tell usually stuff, isn't it, with like, it's black and white, it's got like loads of spikes, they've got like tons of spikes.
Dude,
but like
in the Discord, somebody was sharing how one of the tells is they have the spiky dudes, right? But they're like super muscular and they're lifting weights. Like every one of these fucking grifter accounts, they have one where they're like lifting like 600 pounds. It's like, who the fuck buys that?
It's so weird. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And it's just, I don't know. I guess people just don't, maybe they don't, but like, I would just feel like it's such a fraud doing that, because people say, like, it's the people that pretend that they've made it that is annoying, isn't it? It's like, if you want to mess around, obviously, and try stuff out, and if it becomes like a gateway into making art, then like go for it. I guess. But it's like, it'd be like ordering a table on Amazon and saying like, here's a table I made. It's just like,
exactly.
The joy comes from like making the thing, doesn't it? And like, or failing as well, and overcoming those like hurdles, all the learning. I mean, preaching to the choir, all of this stuff. But it's madness.
Sometimes you just need a vent, because it's like that's what I was saying before we like recorded. It's like, dude, just some days I just feel weighed down by modern society. And that's why I was like, dude, I got to touch grass some more. But it is hard, man, especially because it just seems like there's a compulsion to want to pay attention, so individually how to pivot and like survive at a certain point. But then there's also the compulsion of, or the realization that paying attention so much just makes your perception even worse than maybe actuality.
True.
So I don't
know. It's very easy to kind of become overwhelmed with all that stuff, isn't it? With Instagram and just the barrage of just images and stuff that's churned out. The more stuff you see where people actually, and quite a lot of times like bigger bands, isn't it? I've seen that have used stuff, and it's like, they haven't credited an artist there, and it's like, this looks a bit AI like, doesn't it? It's like, it's very disheartening for sure. But saying that, I don't feel like my work has like taken a hit yet, and I don't feel like, and also like bands that I've worked with some bands that are like pretty young and they probably don't have that much money, and they're still commissioning people and happy to pay, and so that's obviously nice.
Well, they're trying to do it for the right reasons. Like, just like if you take your music seriously, this is what you do. You take the imagery seriously too. And I do think along the way, bands are going to make mistakes where maybe the management put AI art in a flyer because they're business people and not musicians. And then the musicians realize that happened. They're like, fuck, can't do this again. So like there's also an element of like something that's very hard, I think, for some people to swallow, but like an element of like forgiveness too. If you make a mistake and you accidentally use AI art and you kind of own up to it, to me it's like, okay, move on, commission artists going forward. Because like, I don't want it to be so petty either, man. That's another thing that I don't like either, is trying to basically, cause drama and make problems for no reason and not just be constructive and productive in your own way, man. That's like something that's also annoying.
Totally. Yeah.
So focus on your craft, no matter what it is. That's the most important thing.
Definitely, 100%.
Oh, worked up, man.
Yeah, it's tiring, isn't it? Talking about AI. Sorry, I shouldn't have brought it up. Or I should have saved it at least.
No. It's a me issue.
It's the elephant in the room, really, isn't it? It's always lurking there, and it's like hard not to talk about it in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, it's going to shape the future. That's for damn sure, and it already has. So your process then, in general, is, and we'll show in the slide deck here in a minute, but like you have like the sketch phase, and then you're basically painting over that, and then what platform are you using digitally as your like go-to?
Yeah,
Photoshop or
mostly Procreate now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So just sketch it in Procreate. Send it over to the client and make sure that they're happy with it. Usually tend to just do one sketch, but it kind of depends on how much of a clear idea that they've got of what they want. And obviously we'll discuss that before I kind of get into anything. Sketch it out. More recently I've been kind of going a little bit more detailed with the sketches and kind of working out the kind of the light and shade aspects of it. Takes a little bit of guesswork out of the painting part. And then, once they're happy with the sketch, I'll work towards like a final image. But I've been kind of approaching it in the painting part in like a few different ways recently. So most recently I've been doing like a kind of grayscale painting. And then you paint over the top of that with another layer with like, what's it called? Forgotten what it's called, but it's a layer style basically, which I think it's called color. And it's essentially just like, you've got your gray values down from the painting, and then it just like the color kind of reacts,
like glazing basically.
Yeah, kind of. It kind of reacts to the gray underneath and gives you the kind of hues that you want.
That's cool.
But not always actually, because like sometimes I don't know if you want like a bright yellow or something for like, I don't know, like an explosion or flames or something, and then the gray underneath or white isn't quite light enough, you're going to get like more of an orange when you paint that yellow over the top. So you might need to then work the whites up a little bit in the gray painting underneath. But I think that's maybe my favorite way of doing it now, because it's like it kind of keeps things simple with doing the gray painting. You just focus on the light and shade, and then you can kind of tackle the color afterwards.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's similar to like how acrylic or oil painters often work, Yeah, that's really cool, because it feels a little bit more like traditional in the sense of like how you're approaching it. It's just you have the undo button, and you can make changes to colors and stuff. So there's an element of convenience too.
Yeah.
So Procreate, you just like, why Procreate? Why is that ideal for you?
I suppose before Procreate, I was using Photoshop and using a tablet, and it feels a bit more more realistic, I suppose, using Procreate, because you're drawing on a screen. Right. The Apple Pencil feels a little bit more natural than like the Wacom tablet I've got, and I really like the airbrush in Procreate. It's just really fun to use, and you can get, like, depending on the size of it, you can get kind of more kind of airy looking kind of hues to it. I sometimes work in Photoshop if if it's for like a bigger poster or artwork, just because I've got like my iPad, basically you've got like a limitation of layers and stuff like that you can work in. So if I need more layers, or it's like a bigger poster, then I often work in like Photoshop instead, or like sketch in Procreate and then paint it in Photoshop. But yeah, there's brushes in both actually that I kind of prefer. Like there's a really nice brush in Photoshop. It's like a chalk kind of brush, and it just gives really nice like mark making kind of brush marks, which is it's really good for like more of an acrylic-y kind of look. And then yeah, Procreate's great for that airbrush kind of thing. So I'm always like back and forth between the two of like, what should I do? Which approach should I go to? But I'm sticking more with the airbrush in general.
Yeah.
I
think too, like I'll use like Procreate sometimes for like mock-ups, or like so yesterday I did it, because everything I'm doing finished is traditional, but I was wondering, like, with this final figure in this piece I'm working on, like, how dark should I make her relative to everything? So I took a picture, put it in Procreate, and now I can basically draw on top of it, and I can figure out those values. So it makes me more confident, when I go back. So like, I really like how simple Procreate is, and it's not scary. Whereas I open up Photoshop, and to me it's scary.
Yeah. Is that just because you're like a bit unfamiliar with it, or?
Oh, completely unfamiliar, dude. I have no formal education at all, formal or informal education on digital.
Right.
Part of the reason I work traditionally is because that's all I know.
Yeah.
But it's kind of out of ignorance, frankly.
Yeah. I mean, it is definitely the most kind of satisfying way to work, isn't it? I find. I mean, and it's like a nice break from looking at a screen. Like, I mean, how do you kind of tackle, if you're working on a piece and they need like an amendment or something like that? Is that tricky?
Sometimes it's just not possible.
Yeah.
But luckily, I kind of specify that up front, and like I share the sketch and all that.
Yeah.
But if it's like, most of the time it's just things that I need to change. It's like, I made that area a little too dark. I can use a little bit of whiteout. I can use to a certain degree this tool, which is like a sand eraser. Thank you, Christian Dane, for introducing me to me like a year and a half ago. That helps me out with fixing little errors. I mean, the part of it is just like the types of clients that I want, or the ones that I've had to this point, they kind of have to know, like, since I work traditionally, we have to speak up earlier in the process,
Yeah. So basically, if they're okaying the sketch, there's no going back now. This is you're going to get an inked version of this. So speak up now if you want anything changing.
Pretty much, yeah. And then like, Mark Riddick, Lucas Court, my other peers who basically just do traditional. We talk about it, and for the most part, it works out. But you do have to kind of like vet your clients a little bit more. Like, you can't have the like hyper picky wanting to change every little detail client, because we're just not the right fit.
Yeah.
By the nature of it.
Yep. Yeah, I guess you just, the way you work will kind of dictate the clients you get, won't it, really? And like, maybe those people won't approach you in the first instance because they might be indecisive, like you say, and want to kind of tweak things as they go, and they might want to kind of direct you. Some people like to do that, don't they? They just like to have, stick their aura in. Yeah, it's just like, isn't there like might have even got this from like listening to one of these episodes, but isn't there a thing where like traditional artists back in the day would, if they were painting like a scene, say like a river scene or something like that, they would paint like a random boat or something in there, just so the client could be like, can you take that out? So they could easily just paint over it, and then that way the client felt like I've said something, I've had an input in this, and I feel good.
The only problem is when it backfires, they're like, I love the boat, and you were hoping they would, and it's like, makes you need to add more boats.
Yeah, can you draw another 100 of those? Yeah.
Well, that's the most common complaint that I hear from other artists, and I totally get it, is when maybe musicians don't realize that, like, oh, can you add like 3 more figures? I don't think people realize like how hard a figure is. Like a figure is like me going to your song and be like, hey, can you add another 2 choruses, like unique
Yeah, God.
choruses? Which is
Yeah,
like, think of how, I mean, I'm talking like traditional mainstream kind of music, I guess, in
yeah,
that sense. But like a figure is challenging for most people. So it's like, and it
mm,
also changes the whole flow of everything.
yeah. It's not like I'm just like, yeah, like you're copying and pasting another person in, is it? Like, yeah, it
Yeah,
takes a
no,
lot of time.
that's like
Yeah,
the hard, in most cases, that's the hardest part of art is like drawing people or, I mean, for me, it is. I think figures probably the most challenging thing.
yeah,
What do you
absolutely.
like? What subject matter do you struggle with?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really do much of it, but like stuff, I always found like perspective stuff pretty hard, or kind of like
Yeah.
scenes, like drawing a scene or something like that. I have attempted it like a long time ago when I did more kind of comic-y stuff, but I guess like you were saying earlier on, I kind of recognized I wasn't very good at it and just kind of strayed away from it really.
Yeah.
Um,
That's kind of an important lesson too. Is like you can be a professional artist and like you is it smarter to be fully well rounded and not really have any like severe weaknesses, severe,
hmm,
or is it better to double down on your strengths and then specialize and you're known for that one thing?
yeah,
Everyone would kind of have like a different answer. For
yeah,
you, do you feel like you're more like doubling down on your strengths?
yeah. I feel like that like perspective stuff just probably isn't. I don't think I'd really enjoy it that much. It's not really the kind of thing that I want to draw. So I'm not too bothered that I'm not that good at it. I'm not like desperate to try and get good at it. Um, but I guess yeah, it's different for everyone, isn't it? Because some people their thing might be like I can draw literally anything, and I can draw it like from this angle, and like a lot of those
Yeah, like
classic
Kim
comic.
Jong Gi or something, where it's like I can do it in fisheye
Oh
perspective,
right,
and shit.
I don't know if I know who that is, but
Oh, I'll share
must
some
have seen.
stuff.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, he passed away, but he was probably one of the best. Just like, I mean, I could just say best artist that ever like lived in the modern day. But like,
yeah,
he was just an incredible drafts person, and he did everything freehand with like this. And so he would just it was just brush right on paper, and he would draw like a person and like this really unique perspective, and he was like just perfect at that. He had
yeah.
an incredible visual memory,
Yeah,
which
so that's all just from imagination, is it?
yeah, all
Yeah,
imagination, just unbridled creativity, amazing artist.
that's insane. Yeah, I'm always
Yeah,
blown away by people that can do that stuff.
I
Um,
know it's crazy.
yeah, like I feel like one of the most impressive people that kind of I've seen that seems to be able to do everything is like Joe Jusko. You know that guy?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
legend.
yeah. So good. Like, there's this piece of his that I think about quite a lot, to be honest, because it's just like technically good on just so many levels. Where it's like it's got like some crocodiles in it, and like part you can it's kind of like the angle you can see like part of them underwater, some of them coming above the water, and the color of them under the water is a bit different. It looks a bit murky. He's got all that kind of texture nailed, and he's got some kind of tree stuff going on in the background and vines and people, and it's just so rich with cool stuff. And like, yeah, I mean, I don't see how he's well, I suppose like there's reference images, aren't there, of all that kind of stuff that you could piece together, but I feel like it's probably been heavily imagined.
Yeah,
I
for
don't I
sure.
don't really know his kind of approach to stuff, but he seems to be one of those people that's just like, I'll just paint, like you said, that other guy, just I'll paint a person in here, and they're doing
Probably a
this,
little bit
and
of both. And
yeah,
once you get a certain amount of experience, it's like you just can make those kind of like
yeah,
changes like just like that. But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and that's the thing is it's like it's tempting just to kind of like worship some of these older artists that cut their teeth and they were just working like 70-hour work weeks and they just got so good at what they were doing and because the economy and the world supported that
yeah.
because there weren't all these competing interests in the internet
That's
and all
cool.
that. So
Yeah.
it's like it's easy to romanticize it though too because I interviewed Tim Jacobus, right, who did all the Goosebumps covers for the most part.
Oh,
And
wicked.
he's like, artists today don't know how good they have it because I used to have to drive with my portfolio in New York traffic to get to Scholastic to then have them take the picture, and my entire day was taken from that. And I'm like, you're right. In some ways, artists now have it better than they ever have.
But
I also think that like there's something sacred about how art used to be created and how much effort and a unique style, and I don't know. I do tend to romanticize that stuff, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Joe Jesco's right in there, dude. And like, of course, Frazetta.
Yeah,
Roy G. Krenkel. I love the. I don't really like the plot or the storyline as much, but dude, all those artists who used to do like Tarzan stuff,
right?
Because you got jungle and like how they did all the trees.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like I find those really inspiring, man.
Yeah,
because Tarzan's been like IP forever. You know, it's really old.
Yeah,
so there's so many different interpretations of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've not read any of those comics or anything, but yeah, the artwork is just insane, isn't it? And yeah, I'm always blown away. And yeah, any of that old stuff really, or like, yeah, if me and my partner ever go away on like a city break or something and go to like an art gallery, it's like I can happily spend hours just looking at all the classic artworks, you know, all those old paintings. It's just like I actually don't understand how they did it, you know, like these huge crowd scenes and stuff like that. I guess they just were going back. They were taking kind of reference sketches and going back every day, and then they would build it up.
A lot of studies.
Some of that artwork did actually take years, didn't it? So it's, you know, I guess that makes sense, but it's still technically like, it's unbelievable, really, isn't it? That's some of that stuff. It's insane.
Well, and then you realize how many museums there are in the world and how much art you're never going to see. And then it's also like, why do we have to speed up the creation of art so much now? Because there's already so much that no one's ever going to see.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It takes like a year to see everything that's in the what's the famous art museum that has the pyramid? The Louvre. Yeah, like to actually see all of the art in the Louvre would take like a year, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I actually
crazy.
Yeah, I actually went there in February, and
what was that like?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like it's quite overwhelming though, because it's like just even in, I guess probably stuff that isn't even meant to be like art, but just like the architecture or whatever it is, or just like a little corner piece of some of the paintings or stained glass windows or whatever it is you're looking at. It is like rich with so much like impressive stuff. It's got like really old like bits of armor and weaponry and sculpture, like sculptures just dating back like, I don't know, it's so old, some of the stuff. And actually just got quite overwhelming and like tiring after a bit of being in there after a few hours, because you're just like, my brain has taken in so many visuals, I can't kind of process it. Probably a bit like if you're like doom scrolling, isn't it? And you're just like, oh my god, like I just can't take any more of it. Yeah, obviously much better than that, but it was amazing. Like fully recommend if you can to go. I
feel like I get spoiled at a certain point, because like my thing is like, okay, go to like anywhere, but like I was just in Austria, right? And there were some museums that they had so much religious art, you know, like old Christian art, and it's like I'm tired of seeing Jesus at a certain point, you know, like, and that's why I like, man, for the longest time I didn't really get Impressionism, but now like I really seek it out, because there's something about Impressionism that it's just like everybody kind of has like a slightly different approach, and it just breaks everything up. Because like sometimes when I go to museums, I just see so much of the same religious imagery over and over again, and that doesn't really do much for me. Technically, some of it's like exceptional, but it's just like, I'm sick of it.
Subject matter wise, you just
it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
but then with Impressionism, it's like, I don't. Some people might be like, I don't care about a field full of flowers, but I'm like, oh man, just like how like vibrant all the colors are playing off one another.
I'm
becoming more of a sucker of that stuff.
Yeah, I can definitely appreciate all that kind of stuff too, for sure.
So we talked about all the experiences we don't want with clients, it sounds like. What's the ideal client experience look like? Like, how much direction do you like, ideally?
I mean, quite a lot of stuff that I get is they've got a pretty solid idea of what it is that they want, which, it's pretty good for me, to be honest. As long as it's not kind of well, this doesn't matter either, but like, you know, if they want to base something off like a particular image, but kind of tweak it a little bit. I've got something like that now, actually, like a brief that I'm looking at where it's based off a classic bit of kind of propaganda artwork that want me to kind of base in a modern setting. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with if they've got like a specific idea. And yeah, I suppose ideally, it's nice to keep the communication to kind of one format if possible. So like, you know, I don't mind Instagram, but email's probably better. Keep it all in the same thread, and because you get some people and they kind of, and it's nice because they're obviously excited, but you know, they'll send you like random bits and it's like, oh, it's on WhatsApp and like an image on Instagram, and it's like can be hard to keep up with sometimes. But yeah, generally just kind of like they know what they're after, and communication is good, and yeah, it's just when everything's smooth sailing, really, you know, they're happy with the sketch, and then they're really pleased with the final, and then they pay you quickly. That's always good.
Yeah,
yeah,
you have to hunt them down like a loan shark.
Yeah, it's funny actually, because like some of the clients I used to work for, like magazines and stuff, they would take forever to pay you, and you'd actually have to like hound them, and it'd be really frustrating. And like in general, I find bands are like really good for that.
I haven't had any issues.
Yeah, they're just like happy to pay you, you know, and it's easy. So yeah, that's a nice part of doing stuff for metal bands for sure.
Looking at the time, we're deeper than I thought in terms of the amount of time here. I do want to show your work, but you know, just you know, before I do these episodes, I usually give the artists just like a list of like topics to talk about. We haven't touched on everything, but out of those topics I sent over, is there anything else you want to kind of touch on before you just, you know, show some of your art and talk like the story of how it was created?
Yeah, nothing that I can think of in particular, really. Yeah, I'm happy with stuff so far.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's get into it then, man.
Cool.
Sure, that will do some stuff. All right. So kicking it off, love this Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats shirt design. So how did this come to be?
Cheers, man. Yeah. So yeah, this was like a really satisfying one, to be honest. Yeah, I just started following them on Instagram. I think they kind of came up as a suggested, you know, person to follow. And I had actually listened to them before, but I hadn't listened for a while and kind of forgotten about them, to be honest. But yeah, followed them, and then quite soon afterwards got an email and just said, "Yeah, I'd love for you to design a shirt for the tour," which is awesome. And yeah, basically, it's I don't know if you listened to the latest album at all.
The latest one, I haven't, but I love like the earlier stuff a ton, and
yeah,
I mean everything I've heard I liked, but
yeah. The new one is quite different. It's like a bit of a departure, I suppose, from some of their other stuff, because it's more of like a concept album. So it's
okay.
So it's basically it's like it's a soundtrack. So the album's called Nell Aura Blue, and it's a soundtrack to like a fictional movie. So like do you know like Italian giallo movies? Heard of those? Yeah. So it's like it's got like the album has got like a storyline to it. It's all like in Italian, but the vinyl it kind of translates some of that, so you can kind of follow the narrative. But yeah, the brief was basically to it's a crap film from the 70s that has been re-released on VHS in the 80s with like new artwork, like over the top artwork. And so the actual people in the image, I mean the main three really, I suppose, the guy with the knife, guy in the reflection, and the girl, they're all actual like actors, like classic kind of 70s 80s actors that are kind of credited on the album as well. Cool. So yeah, I had to kind of reference images of them.
So the band sent you those photos of the actors?
It was a bit of both. They sent me some reference images, just basically like it's this guy, and this girl. But then I had to find some more to kind of match with the poses that I wanted, and So yeah, what did I do? Yeah, so I think I drew this one on Procreate and then painted it in Photoshop, this particular thing. And then I had to like color separate it for screen print because they wanted to go kind of classic like screen print for it. Which is something that I've been like nerding out about for a little while now, just kind of enjoying the challenge of separating
Limited
like
colors,
limited colors, or just like separating like a fully colored painted image, because some of my stuff I'm often like at a bit of a crossroads whether I suppose if it's because some of the stuff I do will be like it's an album cover, also we want it on a t-shirt, so it's like, well, the album cover I probably want to paint, but then it would be easier sometimes to do more of like a line art style or just like a solid color kind of approach to make it easier for the t-shirt. But I kind of want them to look the same ideally, so like I was interested in learning how to separate those colors, and it gives it kind of a more of like a vintage kind of t-shirt print look, I think, so
definitely,
which I really like, so I wanted to learn that.
So it basically has changed how you approach it in terms of like what layers you're basically painting in and stuff, or are you able to paint kind of how like you normally do and you've figured out how to separate after the fact?
Yeah, I do the latter, so don't worry at all about layers really. I mean, if I'm painting stuff, I tend to maybe use a couple of layers. If there's something that I'm painting that I'm like not entirely confident with, then I'll make a new layer and work into that. And then when I'm happy with it, I'll kind of like merge the layers down just to kind of keep things simple. Because if you have like a ton of layers, it can be a bit confusing as to what's what.
Makes sense.
So yeah, you kind of like, you kind of merge it all down, and then you separate it in Photoshop just so you've got, the 3 or 4 colors or however many you're using for screen print.
And this separation is just like a step that you basically do in Procreate, or is that a Photoshop step?
It's a Photoshop thing. So you basically have to use the channels in Photoshop. So you've got like a breakdown in the channels where it's, like CMYK. So you've got your black, cyan, to yellow. And then if you hide certain channels, you'll see the grayscale value of that particular color. So if you hide all of them by yellow, you'll see like all the yellow in the image as a gray. And basically you have to kind of copy. Don't know how interesting this is. It's very nerdy stuff. Okay, cool.
I asked, man. Yeah.
I just it's very nerdy kind of stuff. So you basically kind of copy and paste the channels, the various kind of colors into their own document in Photoshop, and then you kind of half tone them, and then you bring them back all together in one document, and you kind of color overlay the various tones. They also have to be like a particular angle for screen printing, so that basically those colors will like react with each other to create the different hues. So it kind of creates like an illusion of like more colors than it is, which is kind of gives that old school kind of vintagey t-shirt look.
So are you working at CMYK primarily then?
For print, it would need to be like CMYK. Okay. So I think actually the image you've got on the right is a 3-color version of the artwork on the left. I don't think there's any white in that one.
Oh yeah, you're right. But the lightning isn't quite as pierce.
But you can get away with quite a bit, to be honest. You can like, once you've separated it, you've then got basically each color as a flat, like solid color, but like in halftone dots. And you can make any of those colors, you can just color overlay it. It's just like a setting in the layer settings panel. And then you can, you're flexible to choose whatever colors you want for the design. So it's a pretty cool thing to mess around with.
I imagine learning this was kind of a combination of like YouTube tutorials and articles plus just playing around basically. Yeah,
it was a bit of both. Yeah. It's quite hard though to find, like, a lot of the tutorials are just for quite simple stuff. They're not like a fully painted image. It's just like how to separate this, and it's just like, well, that's basically flat color anyway, so it's like it wouldn't be too hard. But to fully like separate something like this, it's yeah, I've kind of picked bits and pieces from different videos really, and then tried stuff out myself.
Now that you've figured out how to do it, how long does that typically take you, that step?
Is not too long now. It's a bit of a process, but the result can vary because it depends on, because basically you have to get rid of the black. So I would have had to got rid of all the black in that painting.
That's the shirt color, right?
Because that's the shirt color exactly that's showing underneath. But kind of depending on how much black you get rid of, it can sometimes eat into some of the colors, and you can create more of a blended look. But depending on how you've kind of played around with that original painted image, to then when you then go and separate the colors, can affect how, I don't know, like how dense or how kind of it looks really. So you do, it's a bit of like to and froing from, trying out different stuff. But like in terms of the time, like if I was just to kind of separate colors from, that image now, it would probably take me, I don't know, maybe like 45 minutes, an hour to kind of,
okay, yeah,
to do that complete process, maybe, or maybe quicker than that. But to do it where
many hours to learn how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but to do it to a level where I'm happy with it, it might, you never know, it might take longer. Yeah, you never know really. But yeah, it's good fun to play around with, and gives you gives you flexibility to like,
Well, I bet shirt printers love you.
Hopefully, yeah, because I don't want to be that nightmare person that's like, here you go, and it's just like a ton of layers, and they have to figure it out. But I guess they would charge more.
Well,
so maybe they don't love me. Maybe there's more money they could be making.
Oh no, I think they love you, man, based on what I've heard.
Awesome. That's great.
So this piece.
So this is for a skate video called Blokes 2. The sequel to Blokes. Surprise, surprise. Have you heard about these guys, or?
I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, no, anything about it. Yeah. So it's like they're a bunch of quite like gnarly dudes, really, that like they love skating, of course, and then they also are really into the like 80s B movies and kind of like 80s British culture, really. It's like a blend of like ultra violence, like seedy British culture, and then skating. So it's like, it's kind of, it's really well done. So it's like I'd call it, I don't know, it's not really skits that they've got in the movie. It's more like parodies, I suppose, of like certain film genres. But like, the guys who put it together, they're proper like passionate about all this stuff, and they really like, they go to town on all the kind of practical effects, and it's really like, it's really crafted, really well crafted, with some wicked skateboarding in as well. And a lot of the soundtracks they use, rather than being your typical, I don't know, music you might expect in a skate video, it's like it's music from like, I don't know, Antiques Roadshows, like or like or like I don't know, like music you might hear in like a David Attenborough like documentary, or it's like stuff that you wouldn't normally pair together with like hectic skateboarding stuff.
That's funny.
It's surprising how it actually works well together. It's definitely like very unique. It's not your average kind of skate video, but this was like pretty intense to make, because it's so many people, and I think the hard thing was just because they were quite like specific of what they wanted, really, and they wanted certain characters to have more prominence. And they also didn't want me to give too much away about like some of the kind of scenes that are in the movie, so you had to be careful about what you picked. But they sent me like a load of reference material, and then I also took screen grabs they sent me some of the skits like before they were kind of edited in post and stuff, where I could take screen grabs and work from those. And then I actually like collaged it together initially with the photos, and just worked out, is this going to work with where I'm thinking of the text to go and all that stuff.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
do it that way.
Yeah, I think when there's stuff like so much going on like this, it just gives me a bit more confidence to, like, once I'm happy with how the composition is going to look, it's like, oh, okay, right, I can work on the more fun stuff and try and start rendering it.
Very much a puzzle with this one. I could
Yeah.
see it, like, because I'm like, I always love to like kind of think like, what's the frame of mind to like actually put this together, and puzzle.
Totally.
Cool.
Yeah. And just getting all the different kind of sizes of the characters right. So you want to show this particular thing. It's like, oh, that character doesn't work there, so you have to it's like Tetrising it all together really until it kind of works. But satisfying once it comes together.
So would you say this is one of the most challenging pieces you've done?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. There was a few things they wanted kind of adjusting. So originally I had the two fingers up, the V sign by the bloke's text. That was originally in the middle, but it kind of got in the way a little bit of the kind of two main characters. And so we shifted that around, and then we had a bit of kind of tweaking to do with the colors and stuff, where they kind of preferred. I think initially it was like kind of warmer hues that I'd used, whereas this they went for more of they wanted a bit more kind of a blue kind of hue to it. I think that's what happened. Yeah, I mean,
What about the skyline and the lightning? Were those added later? Like, it just need a little bit more, or did you know that from the beginning?
I knew there was going to be lightning in it straight away.
That's a trademark.
Yeah, it immediately makes it look more kind of over the top and 80s, and that was two of the things that kind of. I wouldn't stick it in if I didn't think it was appropriate, really. So there's not like it's not like a that's not like a rule of mine where it's like there has to be lightning in there or I'm not doing it. So that was in there quite early. That was in there early on. But we actually I based the colors on this off of it's like classic poster for Rambo, where it's like it's mostly all blue, but then the Rambo text is like a really like bright, like bold red, just to kind of punch through, which is quite a classic kind of poster arrangement. Really, lots of posters do that. So I kind of followed those kind of color guidelines really. I recommend watching it though if you get a chance. I think it's on like Thrasher's website still. Maybe you'll get like a heavy.
My American brain can comprehend it.
You probably
not just like a UK thing.
You might need subtitles to understand it. I don't know.
I probably will, dude.
Yeah. But it's a good laugh.
One thing I was curious about is your comfortability with like typography and stuff.
Yeah.
Like you probably learned quite a bit of that in uni, right? So like, is that something you like doing, or it's just kind of like, what's your relationship with it, I guess?
Yeah. I didn't really do much of it at all in uni, to be honest. I mean, though my course was called kind of design illustration, I was more kind of leaning towards illustration personally, I suppose. And my kind of appreciation and then like understanding of typography usage came a bit later on, really, just through kind of arranging posters and working out how the two would sit together. But I mean, like this one, like they had a couple of fonts to pick from already, so I didn't really do too much other than I kind of added some kind of grimy texture to it. But I do like working with text. I like having full control of it, really, of just having the two things, because it's just probably like a control thing, really. Like I don't. Well, if the person I'm handing it over to is like a designer, then maybe that's fine. But there's a slight element of like, I don't know if I trust. Is this going to work well if I leave this to someone else? Yeah,
you might as well get it to completion, and then I think your approach there makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
That's a part that I'm kind of like dipping more into, is like typography and like hand drawing type and stuff. It takes more time, but I like with certain projects to be able to. I love metal logos, no doubt, right?
Yeah.
But if I had the choice, I think a lot of the commissions I think are cool when like you either stray away from the logo or you basically make alterations to the logo that fit with the shirt design. It just depends on the project.
Yeah, because you do like on your like Gatecreeper flyer poster, you it's hand-drawn text for that, isn't it? You do
Right,
all that
yeah.
hand-drawn stuff. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Like, yeah, I was really impressed with that when I saw that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the I didn't do the Deafheaven logo at the top, and then I have another poster for them that I'll probably share next
Oh
week.
yeah.
And then
Deafheaven, wasn't it? Did I say Gatecreeper? Maybe.
well, it's Gatecreeper's playing the show, but yeah, we both were part of this series, which is really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Chase was like, "Nah, you should do hand drawn type there," because we were like, he sent the reference folder, and then we both really liked that one that he sent over that had the Love Vampire New or whatever, and then they had that kind of like groovy '60s kind of like bubbly text. So we're like, yeah, let's kind of take that a little bit there.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'd say that's one thing actually that I'm not massively confident in is doing kind of handwritten or hand drawn text. I've done it a bit in the past, but I just always feel like it needs to match really in terms of the weight of it, doesn't it? And the feel with the illustration, it needs to feel like it's like there's like a marriage there of the two. Whereas I always felt like my rendering of the type wasn't good enough to go alongside the image, so it was a little bit jarring.
Well, it's like it's different approaches too. You're more of a painter, you know what I mean? Whereas the pen and ink line art kind of style that I predominantly do. I know you do some line art, but it is a little bit. I think it's easier to do hand drawn type when you're doing more line art stuff. When you do the painting, unless you paint the text, it can look a little bit off.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I kind of approach it in like, when I look at like video cover art or poster art like that, I often think, well, there would have been two different jobs, two different people doing those things. Would be the painter who does the image, and then there's the graphic designer who handles like the layout of it. So I suppose I just kind of switch. I just kind of go like, well, I'm in graphic design mode now for the text, but still keeping it in mind that I want it to obviously not just look like it's slapped on, like it still goes with the image, whether it's like the colors or the weight of the lines of the text, that kind of
like this example that this like fits perfectly in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Awesome. Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Which we didn't skip anything. Yeah. So we're on this one now.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit about it.
Yeah. So it's it's a kind of Chase basically just gave me quite a lot of direction. Really, it was just like I think you should use images from this video, and here's some references, and maybe go for like a Thai poster style, which I was just 100% down for, because I love like Thai movie posters. They're really cool. They're quite like unconventional, I suppose, compared to like more Western style ones, where the arrangement's a little bit, maybe there's a bit more going on, and they've often got like pictures of the cast down one side, like I've done with the band there. And then their particular like language looks, Thai language looks like amazing. Like, that the fonts, the look of the letters is really nice. So I wanted to have a little bit of that.
Does
on
that
there
say Deafheaven there?
I think so. Yeah.
So?
I hope so. Yeah. I used like a translate thing and typed it in, and that's what I got. So hopefully that's what it says. But just to give it that kind of authenticity, really, just to make it look a bit more Thai. And then I painted this one in. So what did I draw? I drew it in Procreate, and this one was painted in Photoshop because it's that particular brush I mentioned earlier, the kind of chalky one. It's like quite a loose brush. You can be quite like expressive with it, and I kept the kind of brush marks quite like broad with it, really, just to make sure it looked like nice and painterly, and had that kind of Thai look to it. So that was really satisfying to make.
I like how you've fused all the scenes, like like your approach for this one is like head-on collage puzzle, right? Whereas this one, it's like you had the challenge of like taking a different plane that the guy with the bag is carrying.
Yeah.
And then on the right there, it's just like, how do I put it? The other one's more head on, whereas this one's like multi-planes, but it like all pieces together really well. It's super cool.
Thanks. Cheers, man. Yeah, it was Yeah, that one came together quite naturally, I think, comparatively. But I guess it's because there's maybe less elements to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a bit weird. Like the guy in the middle there, it's when it just kind of, I mean, you can get away with it more with paint, really, can't you? Where you kind of blend stuff together rather than like if you're going hard
Super cool,
line,
man. I love
hard
it.
lines.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah, like if you go like hard lines, it's quite hard, isn't it, to like blend stuff together in that way, like where you've got different backgrounds merging into each other. But like with this, it's a bit more forgiving, really, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta do it all with like really small line weights, basically. If you're,
Yeah,
that's how
I guess
I basically would figure out that problem.
I had a phase of like doing kind of stippling, like pen work stuff, which is really fun. And yeah, it gives that more kind of tonal style, doesn't it? But yeah, it was just like, I don't know. I thought it hurt my hand after a while, man. It was like so like tiring
stippling
to
isn't.
do.
I kind of hate stippling, but I like how it looks.
Yeah, it's like the process of it
it.
is. Yeah, the process isn't really fun, is it? It's just like feels like quite robotic in a way. Like, but then the outcome, it can look awesome, can't it? So it's like a tricky thing.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't, compared to other styles, it doesn't feel like the most expressive either, does it? Because you kind of, I know you can go obviously a bit lighter and with the dots and space them out more to create lighter areas and all that stuff. But yeah, it's not the most enjoyable of processes, but the outcome can look amazing. Yeah, sometimes it's better, isn't it, to kind of zoom out a bit and just focus on those like key areas rather than, because it's very comforting, isn't it, to kind of work on a small area and just like it's very therapeutic to kind of do that, but it doesn't always add much in the grand scheme of things to the piece. So you've got to.
It's also therapeutic to get the big brush out and lay out a bunch of black. That's also
I bet.
Fun.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we got actually. I think there's quite a bit of slides. So
I
need to keep my tangents to a minimum. So
that's all right, man. They're good tangents.
Front, back, and then two long sleeve prints on this one. So it's quite a bit of work.
Yeah, it was quite a bit. It was pretty open. The brief, like from Chad, really, he was just like, really like my stuff, and I think he sent like a couple of images of like Wrecking Ball, that event, but said kind of a bit like this, but not ripping off this character or anything. But yeah, he basically wanted like some kind of 80s movie poster type vibe. And so I wanted just thought go for some frozen zombies and taking over a city, classic kind of cityscape with looming figure over the top, quite like a classic.
Got your lightning, man.
Got your lightning
count
in there.
3.
Exactly. Yeah. Had to be done. And then so this one, like it's I suppose a bit of a different approach. Well, I've done this on maybe a couple of designs now where because it's just for a t-shirt, I was like, well, rather than painting it and trying to separate colors, why don't I work in a way that's going to be solid color, so it's like less work for me later on to kind of when I set it up for a screen print. So I used like a stippling brush for this. So I just kind of sketched it out with just like a kind of pencil-y type brush thing. And then, use this stipple brush to go over it, kind of give it a tighter render and try and work in those kind of like, more of it like in a painterly way, but with this like stipply brush. So, it actually took ages. I thought it might save me like some time. I thought like, oh, this is going to be way quicker than like painting it and then separate, but I just ended up working quite detailed with it. And then, but I'm pleased with how it's turned out. And they were really happy. It took me a while to kind of sort out because the back print is basically, it's taking elements from the front, but it took a while to kind of get that right.
Did they want back print, or you were like, it needs a back print?
No, they wanted a back print. They wanted the whole works. I think I've not done anything where it's been like all sides covered before like this.
Fully decked out.
Yeah, fully decked. Yeah. But but yeah, I did some fun stuff with their logo. I kind of gave it, you might not be able to see, but like I gave it a kind of a 3D effect and added some kind of, made it look kind of more icy, I suppose, than if it was just like a flat, like white and blue kind of print over the top. Yeah, with similar kind of textures that I've used in the drawing to make it kind of tie together, really. So yeah,
awesome piece,
good.
dude.
Yeah, good fun.
Oh, here's some
Oh
more
yeah, there's
examples.
the
So
logo.
close
Yeah,
up of that logo.
yeah, yeah.
I
I
also
suppose
love
it's
how
quite,
you mock up stuff. It's really nice. Got the kind of complementary colors so it pops. Really good for presentation. Getting that final approval, I imagine, making it good, look good on Instagram.
yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
nice.
you got, yeah. That's quite like a recent thing for me, really, because it was just, it wasn't really something I'd considered too much before. But then I think it was about 2019, I kind of started making some t-shirts, just like my own brand of t-shirts, which is, it's under the name Cobra Home Video. So it's all like, as the name
We'll do a
suggests.
couple examples of that in a minute.
Yeah, yeah. But basically it gave me kind of an understanding of like, a bit more of an understanding of branding, I suppose, and like how to present stuff in a bit of a more of a considered way. So yeah, just, and also making the client's life easy rather than like sending them several JPEGs of all the different bits, maybe send them like an artboard where you've got it all arranged and it's like a one click, just flick through the PDF and it's all arranged, and it gives them a good idea about like how it can look on the t-shirt and all that stuff. Kind of takes the thinking out of it for them a bit.
Professionalism, man. The presentation
I try.
Yeah. Daniel Porta Pitforge, we were talking about that a lot on our episode, and that's kind of stuck with me, and I've started to do that more. So Daniel, if you're listening, good idea.
Yeah, sorry. 100%. Yeah, I watched that one. Yeah. I mean, his logo stuff is amazing, isn't it? Like, I often kind of use him as a reference point. It was like, what would he do with this logo? But yeah, that was, really enjoyed that one. Yeah.
We got so it's individual show poster for the Mohawk in Austin.
Yeah.
It was that Gatecreeper Frozen Soul worm tour.
Yeah. I didn't really have too much direction with this one, really. This is like the second thing that I made for Gatecreeper. And I'd actually kind of already started sketching this idea. I just really wanted to do this very specific motorcycle killer type dude. There's a film called Nightmare Beach. Have you ever seen that?
I don't know a ton about like obscure horror movies.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't recommend watching it. It's terrible, but it's like there's like a string of like a few movies that came out around then where it's like, biker helmet killer, kind of mysterious killer dude. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a nod to that poster, really, with the reflection of the person in the visor. So I kind of started doing that anyway, just for a bit of fun, and then Chase got in touch about doing a poster, and then I also kind of took influence from Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan. I think it's like Friday the 13th Part 8 or something. Classic killer over a city type thing. Got the lightning in there, obviously. And I think I did this one all in Procreate, and then just arranged the logos afterwards in Photoshop. And then Chase, he did this on another one actually, but he kind of added a kind of more of it's like a kind of photocopied kind of texture to it to give it a bit more of a like classic flyer look, kind of DIY flyer look.
Right. So he did what he often does with like his flyers with.
Yeah.
Was it in black and white then, like the Xerox style, or?
What, the final flyer?
The final one. Wait, so are you talking about this was used just like this, and then there was another one where you used the imagery, but then like changed the aesthetic of it? Might be understanding.
Oh yeah. So I think the one on the right that's my original one. Obviously without the text. I added some text, but then I think on the one on the left it's quite hard to tell. It's a pretty subtle texture that he's added, but it just kind of gives it a bit more of a Xeroxy kind of texture going on with it.
I didn't know if you repurposed it and then broke it down to like black and white, so it's like old flyer,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I think that would look cool for sure. But yeah, it's not kind of as full on as that. Just more of a kind of subtle texture that you kind of added over the top. Which I don't know if he does it for all of them, but quite a few. And I guess it adds a bit of consistency to all of them because I mean, a lot of the artists this all got very different styles, haven't they? So maybe it kind of ties them together a bit more.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh yeah. Oh, another Gatecreeper design.
Yeah. So I basically got this as a result of it's kind of it's very like satisfying interaction really. I basically followed Chase on Instagram, and then I think it was like 20 minutes later or something, he messaged me and was just like, oh, I'd love for you to follow me back, and then was like, I'd love for you to do a flyer for this tour. I was like, oh, that couldn't have worked out any better. And then it so happened that like I noticed that he was like well into his like, I think they're called like American Thunder like t-shirts and stuff.
Yeah,
get lots of lightning and like eagles and stuff and skulls and all that kind of stuff. And so basically I'd done like some of my recent work had been inspired by I actually hadn't heard of American Thunder before, but were just inspired in general by like Harley t-shirts, old Harley prints, and like trucker t-shirts as well. And so I thought it would be cool which he was really into as well, so we kind of like bonded over I love that stuff. And then I thought it would be cool to kind of integrate a bit of that kind of deserty landscape with some like occult kind of metal stuff as well, like fuse those two things together. I mean, Gatecreeper are they from Arizona? Is that where they're from?
Yeah.
Have I got that right? Yeah. So I mean, the desert thing kind of works well for that as well, doesn't it? But yeah, I suppose I was primarily thinking of the kind of the biker thing really. But I think this was all Procreate as well. Kind of drew it in that, and then kind of airbrushed it, added some text, and he's added his. I think you can kind of see it maybe a bit more on this one, but he's added his kind of texture over the top.
Yeah. Looks awesome, dude. So this was the first thing you did with them, though.
This was the first one, yeah. Lots of fun.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And I think this one too. I just love the color scheme. You cover quite a bit of colored ground.
Yeah.
In the reds and then the purples, but you still have that complementary balance there. I'm just a sucker for like the orange and purple combo.
Yeah, for sure. It's like tried and tested, isn't it? It's like, always looks cool. Yeah. I mean, I've got like, it is hard, isn't it? Picking colors for stuff. Like, I mean, I don't know if I had a clear idea initially with this one of how it was going to go, but I think the thing is you like, I often will like reference certain like movie posters and I'll pick a color scheme from that and just kind of, or I'll just start with like a color from that. So like say a purple or whatever it is. And then you kind of find relative colors to that as you go. And then usually I'll kind of tweak it at the end and mess around with the levels and just kind of tighten it up a little bit. Yeah, sometimes maybe it works out that like you need a bit more blue or whatever it is. You just up those levels a little bit and then it kind of ties it all together a bit more. I never really used to do that much, and like looking back, I feel like it's kind of criminal really that I didn't kind of try more stuff out, because it's like you can quite easily make it look, you can make it pop a lot more that way.
Yeah, live and learn.
Yeah,
the color harmony on this one I especially love.
Thanks.
So
man.
Here we got well, tell me about this one, because I'm not familiar with this band.
Yeah. So they're an Italian gore grind band called Golem of Gore, and I mean, as the name suggests, they very gory kind of subject matter typically on their covers, like pretty like kind of gross out stuff. So it's like there's quite a lot of kind of thought behind this one, where it's kind of a splicing of two main influences for the subject matter of the album. So it's there's an Italian movie, I think it's like a 60s movie called Mondo Cane. And it's basically like a combination of, I think it's like kind of fictional stuff with found footage. And it's kind of like, it's meant to be quite, I've not seen it, but it's meant to be quite kind of brutal and kind of exposes the kind of, the kind of harsh traditions that humans have and the kind of ugliness of humanity. It sounds quite bleak, to be honest. And then there's also the other kind of influence on it is I think it's called Ultimo Mondo Cannibal, which, as the name suggests, a cannibal exploitation kind of horror movie. So they wanted to kind of splice those things together. And so, it features some pretty kind of brutal stuff. You've got like a kind of occulty, ritualistic thing on the top left with the masked figure and, the girl being sacrificed. And then you've got kind of like, you've got a mummified corpse going on the left. And then you've got the main guy who's basically like stabbing, kind of slicing kind of a huge kind of gash in the world, and the kind of the guts of the world are pouring out. And it's just like spilling all the kind of ugliness of humanity, basically, is kind of the idea of it. And then you got some kind of like missiles going off in the background with some kind of like wrecked buildings and all this kind of stuff to do with war. And it's pretty heavy subject matter, to be honest. Like it was quite bleak, like search for all the reference images and stuff like that. It's not the cheeriest, but and I hadn't really done anything this kind of gory, really, so it was a bit of like new ground for me. But and so the thing on the right is basically that was so these two actually are they're adaptions of the album cover artwork. So the left one is like it's like a 2-color variation for a t-shirt for like a front print, and the one on the right is a back print. And that basically uses I kind of made some key artwork for them, so just basically kind of random bits of like painted elements that they could kind of repurpose themselves for the album, because the guy I was in contact with was kind of designing it and arranging it all. So basically I used the painting. I think you might have it on the next slide actually, but there you go on the right. So I've basically kind of masked it within the text, and the text is inspired by like Cannibal Holocaust. That font is kind of a drippy, kind of gory looking font.
And so, this one doesn't look, to me, it doesn't look quite, well, there's certain parts, I guess, but doesn't look quite as airbrush oriented as that one. Yeah. It's like it's a little more, it just looks a little more like acrylic painting,
Yeah. What did I use? I think I did use the same airbrush actually. But it's quite versatile, really, because it's basically this. I probably just went a bit smaller with the detail, because to get that kind of really like hazy airbrush look, you kind of, I guess you want to paint it, and then you want to kind of like just spray some kind of like misty kind of airbrushy bits over the top to kind of soften certain areas, and it gives it that kind of more classic airbrush look. Whereas this, I kind of wasn't really going for that. So if you basically if you just make the brush a bit smaller, it acts as quite more of like an acrylic brush. So
I guess that's how it is with doing airbrush in real life too.
I suppose it would be. But it's I love that brush. It's just so good for like so many things, really. Very cool.
Is that one that just comes standard in Procreate, or do you purchase it outside?
It's a standard one. I think it's like medium airbrush is the one I use, and you can tailor like all the brushes and stuff however you want in that. I don't think I've even bothered to kind of mess with it, really. It's just kind of as is, comes with Procreate. So it's a good one.
Nice. So Cobra home video.
So this is like my personal like t-shirt brand thing. I kind of started doing this in 2019, and it's just like an outlet really for my personal work. And I think it kind of helped because I've not really done that much personal stuff before this. I always found it quite hard to kind of come up with ideas about just, I'm just going to make some art for the sake of making art. And I always preferred to have like a live brief or something that had like a specific purpose to it. Whereas this, I just like, it kind of came about a little bit by accident, really. So like, I had a phase of making these posters that were a bit like the Uncle Acid thing. It was like, it was a poster for like a film that didn't exist. So it was just like a silly poster. But then I wanted it to look like an authentic movie poster and have all the kind of certification stuff at the bottom and icons. And so I just made up, I think it was inspired by, there's a brand called like, it's an old video company brand called Medusa Home Video. So I was just like, I'll call this Cobra Home Video, and just made a really quick, like quite shitty logo that I didn't really think about too much. And then when I decided I wanted to make t-shirts, I was like, what do I call it? I don't want it to just to be like James Wilson's t-shirts. Doesn't sound very cool. So yeah, and then I just kind of thought, oh, maybe I should just call it Cobra Home Video, because it'll probably be like video inspired, VHS imagery and all that kind of stuff, that kind of have that kind of branded look to it. And so yeah, this design is like a pretty random one. It's like a parody design. So have you heard of the film? It's called Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
No.
So
I know the like, Metallica reference, but that's it.
For sure, yeah. Probably the classic kind of t-shirt. Yeah, so there's a scene in the film basically where there's a massive, like, terrible looking cobra snake. It might not be a cobra snake, but huge snake basically that's basically escaped this kind of cargo plane and is kind of stalking these people. It just kind of pops up every so often in the movie, and at one point it comes out of a toilet and scares the shit out of this lady. And then I just kind of thought it'd be quite, I mean, extremely niche, but maybe quite funny to make like a parody of the two things. So the classic Metallica design, but with this scene from the movie. So I kind of designed all of it really. You know, the text is all kind of, obviously the hard ticket text is in the style of the Metallica t-shirt, and then the logo I kind of made similar to the Metallica one with the chrome and the shape of it and stuff. And then this was like a DT, like a direct to garment print, so like digital print. I think I added as well some like it's kind of like cracked elements to the design to make it look kind of like just like a vintagey kind of look to the design, which is really fun to do. Like, you know, gives it like that kind of old printed look. I think I took the texture from like an old Def t-shirt that I've got that's just like where the print's all cracked. So I just took a photo of that, and then you arrange it in a certain way, and then you kind of use it as like a mask basically for the design.
Yeah, it's a cool trick. I've seen people like do like those little like handheld scanners, but they'll like do that over old t-shirts, like do the same kind of approach.
Oh, cool. Nice.
Is this another design that you did under Cobra Home Video?
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, this is probably the one that Chase might have seen actually, where it's probably a bit similar to the kind of American Thunder ones. But yeah, a lot of the Cobra stuff I've taken like classic rock or metal songs, and then I've kind of created a design based, you know, inspired by the song title or whatever it is. And this one was obviously AC/DC Highway to Hell. And I just wanted to have, again, that kind of, I suppose it's just like, doing the Cobra stuff brought out all the kind of stuff that I like naturally. So, you know, heavy metal, and then, you know, like horror movie, B-movie imagery, kind of splice those together. I mean, they're quite hand in hand really, aren't they, with heavy metal stuff. But it just made me realize that that's what I like making. And then I think as a result of that, kind of got me more work, kind of client work based on that style. So it was quite instrumental really in like the work, getting me the work that I'm doing now.
Yeah, I mean, every story so far with every merch design that you've done, it's like they've come to you for a particular reason. Like they know what you do or what they like of what you do. Like every single one, it's like, hey, I want VHS kind of thing, or I want, you know, 80s and this kind of influence. So it's nice that at least what you're showing me here, like they're not just sending you a general project; they're sending you something that's up your alley.
Yeah, and it's for sure, and definitely it's helped me get more work that I like making. Because obviously, kind of like I was saying earlier, like if any work that you put in your portfolio that you're not entirely happy with, you probably shouldn't, because they might pick it and say, can you do something else like this? So it's worked out well. It's I've enjoyed making the stuff, and then as a result, people are like, can you do more of this? And say yes, definitely. It's it's worked out well.
I think we can kind of go at whatever pace you want, but we can like go faster if you'd like. We don't have to have story on everything. Now, if there's something particular interesting, feel free to just
sure.
Don't feel the need to stretch it out by any means.
Okay, so this is for like a London-based bike shop, SBC Bikes or Skull Bike Club. I've done some like merch for them previously to this, like long sleeve t-shirt and t-shirts, and then so this started off as they wanted a like an embroidered hat design, and basically wanted like a kind of thrashy kind of logo, like version of their logo. So I think the main influence for this was like municipal waste. So I took just most of my influence from that, really. And I mean, I don't do loads of logos. Like quite often it will be, I might do some like text treatments or adapting little bits and stuff, bobs here and there. But this was like, I did this one from scratch, and it took a little bit of back and forth of getting it right. So I just kind of made this all in Illustrator, and it's like a lot of things really. It's just you kind of Tetris stuff together until it works. So it's making sure all the letters are kind of relatively the same kind of size and width and whatnot, and then how those the angles intersect. And so it started off as like a flat version of this, and then which they got made for hats. But then he wanted like a chrome version where you could print it on t-shirts and stuff. So it's a bit of a process for it, because I made it in Illustrator for the main logo, and then I worked the chrome stuff out in Procreate. Essentially you just kind of have the separate parts as different layers. So I had like a 3D part as its own layer. I had like the what's it called? I can't think of it. Basically the outline of the letters as another bit, and then the kind of the fill of the letter is another part. And then there's I think it's called like alpha lock is the thing you can do, where you basically color in just within a certain layer. It just keeps it within that layer, so you don't have to keep within the lines kind of thing. You can just stay within it. So it's quite easy then to like just work out all the airbrush bits. You can just go, you can be quite expressive with it. But the tricky thing was working out, I suppose, like the light source and all that stuff, which I basically I nicked it from like the Ride the Lightning logo. I just kind of observed that and was like, okay, let's maybe do something a bit like this.
About it.
Yeah.
Looks awesome, dude.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Skin Failure.
Yeah, Skin Failure. Yeah, so this was my first like album artwork like I've done for a metal band. So so that was a good one. I spent quite a lot of time, I think, to start with, like just with the logo, kind of getting that right, really, and working out that this particular one was actually hand drawn, and I don't think I kind of tweaked it too much in the end. I think it's mostly based on the drawing. But because I mentioned earlier, it's like the name is inspired by like a line from The Simpsons. So the little eyes are like eyeballs, and I wanted to have it to have that, the logo to have like the same weight as the drawing would. And the band themselves, they're quite like they're very much that kind of 80s thrash like attitude, like beer chugging, like or like all their like posts and stuff they do or whatever it is on Instagram, they like sign off with like fuck you and stuff like that, and, like crushing beers and all this kind of stuff. So I wanted to have that kind of rowdy look, but also like the logo had been like drawn in like a school sketchbook or something like that, like you you should be studying maths, but like, oh, I'm going to draw this. I'm going to draw my band logo instead. Like, and so like an elaborate version of something like that, essentially, to kind of go with would hopefully fit the vibe. And then, yeah, just because of they knew it was obviously going to be called Radillac, and that they wanted to have this Cadillac on the front as the main kind of thing with the band in. I guess just because of the size and like proportions of that, it made sense to have the text just really in your face, just like huge over the top, just quite like confident. It's got that kind of like brash, like confidence to it, and also kind of works well because, you know, if you're streaming the music and whatnot, then hopefully the logo is nice and big on the little thumbnail image, so it's like easy to see. So that's another benefit, I guess. But yeah, I did loads of stuff for this. I did the whole thing really. I did the branding, and then the front and back cover, and all the labels for the discs and all that stuff. So yeah, it was quite an intense, like, lot of work to do, but yeah, really fun.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And I think just a couple more here. So this is a skate deck.
Yeah. So this is the main guy from that Blokes 2 poster that I showed you.
Gotcha.
We're looking at in the previous slides. So yeah, this came about first, and I got the Blokes 2 poster gig off the back of this. So this was for a company called Blast Skates, and so this image is actually based. So this guy actually he's a massive fan of B movies, collects VHS, and loves all these like crappy old movies, the same as me. But so he wanted this to be kind of based on an existing kind of concept artwork, which is called The Edge of Terror, I think it's called. It's also confusingly got another title, like a lot of these movies do. I think it's called like The Wind as well as another name for it. But I know, yeah, it's so confusing. But yeah, so essentially in this cover, you've got like a scythe like this, and I think there's like a couple running along it. But it's not a Reaper; it's like a different character. But there's certain elements from this that I've used from that original artwork that I've kind of repurposed. And yeah, he's quite like a gnarly guy basically, and often like, you know, by the end of a night or a skate session, whatever, you see him and he's got like blood pouring down his head, and because he's like smashed a beer into his head or something nuts like that. So he wanted lots of blood coming out of his mouth and stuff like that. And then, so the one on the right is that was an initial one that I tried out where they wanted to see what it would look like with like the wood of the board showing, rather than like a print over the top. So I had to kind of adapt the design to work like that. And then the one on the left is the one they kind of picked as a final in the end. So, which I think looks better, to be honest. It kind of blends a little bit better.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and then the sketch on the right hand side that I mocked up on the boards to give them an idea of how it would look.
Nice. And this is the last slide here. So that's what you were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah. So this is the first kind of thing I did for a metal band. I actually did something for these guys before, which was like more of like, I suppose, artworking really. They had like a design that they wanted adapting for a t-shirt. It was quite a simple one. It was like a black and white design from their album. They just wanted kind of arranging more of in like a better way to suit the kind of proportions of a t-shirt. So I did that for them, and then I guess off the back of that, they asked me to do this. But yeah, actually, like a band I used to play in called Knife Man, we used to play with these guys. So the guy who's in this band now, he used to be in a band called Beggar, which kind of like sludgy, kind of, I guess like a sludge kind of groovy kind of metal band. Really good band, and so I knew him a bit from that. But yeah, just kind of gave me pretty much like free reign to like do what I wanted with this one. And so yeah, just had lots of fun, and like I kind of said, it got like a good response, and I got the Skin Failure job off the back of that. And then it just kind of helped me get a few other jobs really. So yeah, it was a really good one to do.
What year roughly was this one?
Yeah, I think it's 2021, this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, dude, that was a ton of fun. You
Yeah, man.
enjoy
Yeah, it's
it
great.
overall?
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, really enjoyed that. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
thanks so much for having me on.
yeah, totally,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. Yeah, it's great to
Um,
chat with you. I feel like I should have asked you more about your stuff, to be honest.
no, I talked too much. No, that was the problem with this episode was I didn't
Yeah.
ask you enough questions.
Oh,
But
no,
no,
not at
I
all.
think it was good, man.
Sorry, I know you're kind of maybe trying to wrap it up, but you said like you weren't too far into your career. Um, like how long have you been doing this for?
I mean, professionally, probably kind of similar, like 2022, like in terms of like the pen and ink and
Okay.
like having a
Yeah, wow.
more defined style. Maybe
Yeah.
21, but like
Okay. Similar then.
I think I was kind of like I mean I've been doing art for a long time, but I was doing more like colored pencil stuff, and
Yeah.
um, I've kind of like figured out a little bit more where I want to channel it all in with the predominantly pen and ink. I don't want to only do that, but like it's been
Yeah.
helpful to just kind of specialize in that for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I see you've done like painting stuff as well. Did you kind of start doing that before the kind of pen and ink stuff a bit?
Like colored pencil
Color,
mainly,
more
like
color pencil.
like because I liked how like direct it is, and I think it is like a really good medium still. But yeah, I mean I did a lot of stuff. I kind of like bounced around a lot. I think I was just naturally like just curious to try and get decent at like a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But like taking it seriously and like using it as like trying to funnel into like part of my career was definitely like from COVID. Because when COVID happened, I kind of had like we had extra time, but I'm also like this is my opportunity to like really drill down and really focus on this like full
Yeah, for
time, or
sure.
like just really take it seriously. So that's when I started kind of leveling up more was with COVID.
Yeah.
Previous to that, it was more hobby, and I've always been pretty good, but like I just when you really have like a lot of focus and kind of a somewhat of a sense of direction, it certainly helps out with getting to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so yeah, really, your stuff's really impressive, man. Considering you're like, yeah, only been doing it from. I mean, yeah, like you said, you've been doing it since before 2021, but like, yeah, it's really refined.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks, man. Onward and upward, every
yeah,
piece
for
try to get
sure.
a little bit better than the
That's it.
last
That's all
one.
you can do, isn't it? Just keep on trying to one up yourself.
Exactly, dude. Um, as you start to wrap up, though, I wanted to see what would be like some parting advice you would have to other illustrators, maybe ones that are trying to get to the next step of their career or the next step of skill. What would be like advice you would give them, or like advice you would give your past self? It could be another way to frame it.
Yeah, it's really hard to like figure out like, yeah, just one bit of advice really, because I mean I remember thinking that like early on in the stage of trying to get illustration work, just like, how do people do it? How do people make money from this? And how do they get clients? Get in contact with the right people. Yeah, I mean, and there isn't a straightforward answer because it's different for everyone. Everyone's got like a different path that they follow. I suppose it's like it's probably a cliche thing, but you just have to kind of keep practicing, like we were just saying, and try and improve on the last piece and don't get too precious about your stuff,
Yeah.
like look at your work and like work out what works about this piece, what makes it, what's successful about it, what are the things that you could improve, and also analyze other people's stuff. Why does that bit of illustration or artwork, why is that successful, and you know so kind of just get better at looking at stuff really and analyzing, and also just to try and enjoy it really, because if you can enjoy it and not like listen to those like little voices like, oh, maybe I should only do this style or whatever it is, just if it feels good and it's like, I don't know, it feels natural, then yeah, just like make stuff and enjoy making things. And like I think eventually the right people will see it, like, and then hopefully that will lead on to some work.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
I
yeah, hopefully
totally
that's
agree.
helpful.
I think that's the other you touched on it, something that isn't brought up quite as much, but like every opportunity that you see a piece of art that moves you, taking the moment to like really analyze why is like a good way of learning. Kind of reminds me of like when you're like thinking through a music lens, right? Like I know drummers who they only have so much time to actually play drums in the day, but maybe they have a day
Yeah.
job. Well, it might annoy their coworkers, but just doing some tapping or like doing the mental exercises helps out when you get that kit time. So I kind of think as art a similar way. There's only so many hours you can be at the table drawing,
Yeah.
but you can think like an artist basically all day if you're intentional about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's definitely that subconscious thing helps with a lot of things, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
if you're sat at a desk trying to come up with ideas or you're trying to force stuff, yeah, maybe it's not the right time, and maybe you should just be doing other things. And often ideas, or whether it's an idea for like the subject of an image or like a technique that you could try, often those things, yeah, they'll pop in, won't they, when you're not thinking about it. And
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
I think that's often the case, isn't it? For like creatives, you're never really like switched off. There's always like, I could try that next time. And yeah, you're always thinking about new ways of improving.
Absolutely. Well, for everybody watching, thank you for tuning in, of course. It's been a very busy year, so I'm trying my best to do episodes every 2 weeks, but I've broken that pattern a little bit, so appreciate the grace and patience with that. Please take the time, follow James Wilson on Instagram. If he's selling any shirts through Cobra Home Video or any of the bands that he has done work for, support those creatives and musicians as well. And let's all just basically, through our own productive, constructive energies, try to influence the world in a good direction. But yeah.
Oh,
See you
yeah.
guys. Thank you, James. And talk to you in a couple weeks. All right. Bye.
Cheers.